Hello, beautiful souls. How are you today? It is April 23rd, 2023. This is a Lightworker Gateway portal opening up. There's lots of additional energies coming through, just like we needed more, right? Exciting times. We live in exciting times. I'm here to tell you. So our talk today is going to push the envelope, maybe, probably, of what you have had exposure to, I feel like. Speaking for myself, growing up Catholic and actually being in search of biblical truth for most of my adult life, I had a very warped perception of what an ascended master was. It really was presented to me like this unobtainable, like after death kind of label that someone may get, earn, whatever. So what are ascended masters? That is the topic for today. And I bring it up because it's come to me several times as people have come through healing disclosures and we start to discover their lineage and their path, their purpose, their divine mission. As we have had a divine mission in place since before we incarnated on this planet in this lifetime, we have had ascended masters helping to guide us, giving us wisdom, shared knowledge, things that sometimes skill sets, things that they know we need, even though we don't know we need it yet. So because of programming and because of the culture that we live in, a lot of people have no idea what I say when I mention, the ascendant masters that help guide us. So they think of their spirit guides, which are different. Spirit realm and guides is the similarity, but the function is different. So let's dive into it. So an ascendant master is a highly evolved group level consciousness. Okay. So we learn as beings, and we level up in our knowledge, right? In our soul evolution. So as we learn lessons and we experience things in life, we develop soul level consciousness skills. And this is the collective soul level knowledge, consciousness that exists beyond the dimension that we can think of in this 3D realm. So it exists beyond the dimension of time and space. Specifically, you have to not think in terms of linear time because it really only exists for us. It was actually created to keep us on a schedule, to keep us from being free. Different topic for different day. So the ascendant master's term, like I hinted a minute ago, has been widely misunderstood. So guides are like our human spiritual beings that we knew or possibly even knew of that have crossed over, our elder brothers and sisters, sometimes lots of times it's grandparents or it's aunts, uncles, that kind of thing, that have crossed over, left this life in the spirit realm. They have chosen to be a spirit guide for us. And so they're there, and they're usually there in the energetic, in the spiritual sense. And so once you're unaware, if you're unaware, we do live in a free will and consent, law of one, universal laws construct. So for the most part, your spirit guides are not going to be like tapping you on your shoulder, telling you how to make your decisions throughout the day. Once you're aware of them at any point in time, you're like, oh, okay, so my grandfather, Isaiah, is with me and he's with me all the time. And so I call him in, I call in his knowledge, I call in and I accept the things that he wants to share with me. Well, that gives the consent for contact. That gives the consent for communication to be opened up, and then it ends up usually still being in a very safe, non-threatening, like non-scary kind of, nobody, they don't want to scare you. They're benevolent, they're good, they're here for the good, they're here to help you, not harm you, that kind of thing. And so it just depends, that kind of that character that you knew them as will pretty much be how that guide would present themselves to you, so that it's more familiar. Okay. So that's a guide. And that is usually, like I said, someone who's incarnated in your proximity, in your family, in your circle, some way, shape, or form. And after crossing over, decided to be a guide to you for your life, for your incarnation. Ascended masters are different. Ascended masters are spiritually enlightened beings who had past incarnations as ordinary humans, but who have undergone the series of spiritual transformations called initiations or activations. So the ascended masters, there are people incarnated right now that have the main soul imprint of ascended masters. And that ascended master is really, truly guiding a lot of the choices, knowledge, wisdom, skills that human incarnated being exhibits. Okay. And so ascendant masters, again, free will choice. They choose which beings they decide to work with, share their knowledge with, imbue their skills to, and then they're there as a sounding board, through higher self communication and through the same way I can speak to my ascendant masters. So where I may say, my higher self, is this accurate information? Is this in my highest and best good? I can also say, Maggie, is this in my highest and best good? Is this accurate information? Or like one of my main ascendant masters that really has helped me in imbuing energy healing skills and knowledge and stuff like that is Kuan Yin. And so I ask a lot of questions of Kuan Yin, and we have conversations because I really want her knowledge. I really want to take as much as she's willing to share with me. So the ascendant masters remain attentive to our spiritual needs of humanity. This is like the now moment. So they're aware of our challenges, shadow work, choices that we make. Even if we are thinking in our spirit about possibly doing something, they are aware, just like Source. They have that ability. So the ascendant master's incarnation embodied an earthly life. They learned their lessons. They gained their mastery over whatever limitations of the matter. Okay, so that means oftentimes we incarnate into a challenging earthly existence to provide us with lessons that we can learn in specific situations, like a health issue, a handicap, a abusive type of family, a non-supportive, non-loving family. It just depends. Those are things that we as a soul actually decide to have a part of our life, our incarnation here on earth, so that our soul can evolve through learning the lessons of that trial. That is an opportunity that has to be experienced. You can only understand so much from when someone's relating to you. So once that ascendant master overcame the limitations of the matter, when I say matter, I mean like the meat suit, the avatar that we're in, and has balanced at least 51% of negative karma, fulfilled the Dharma, which is our divine plan. So that divine plan means prior to incarnation, you sat down and you had that, like, all the beings that were going to incarnate with you in your life, and you're going to be my mentor, and you're going to be my mom, and you're going to be my dad, you're going to be my sibling, you're going to be my uncle that abuses me. So that is the divine plan for this incarnation, for that incarnation, I should say. So that ascendant master becomes godlike in the sense that they are a source of unconditional love to all of life. That's all God's creations, anything with life, plants, animals, water, anything with life. Through the ascension, they develop a united God presence. Your God presence is your being energy, along with your 12 to 15 main ascendant masters. That is your God presence. We all have around a dozen ascendant masters, and then you add on the guides to that. You really, truly are born into a team. I've discovered in this journey, we're all born with an angel, a guardian angel, and an archangel assigned to us by our birth date. We are born with the protection of a fire dragon. We are born with a lot of God presence assistance, and they're just waiting on us to learn about it and call them in because of the law of consent. So the ascendant masters serve teachers of mankind from the spirit realm. So they help guide. They have literally, like, they are the been there, done that, got the t-shirt beings in our life that have gone back and had thousands and thousands and thousands of incarnations, and they have lived through it and learned the lessons, and they have the wisdom to share, and they've chosen to share with you because they know what you have in front of you in your divine plan, in your life path of your earthly incarnation that you're in. So I do get that sometimes where people who have not really come to terms with judgment and ego, they feel like, why should I listen to anything that comes into me? Like, I know best. And would you tell Source that? Would you tell God that? What these ascendant masters are godlike in the fact that they have ascended through all these lessons, all these lifetimes. They are a source of unconditional love and wisdom. They are always operating in your highest and best good. And they know not only where you have come from and what you have gone through, but what you have in front of you. So you don't have knowledge that surpasses what they're trying to share with you. And to think that you do is straight up ego talk. And that's just a shadow work thing you have to deal with. So they are considered part of the spiritual hierarchy for Earth. And I did a video before about the angelic realm hierarchy, and the angelic realm hierarchy and the ascendant master hierarchy work hand in hand. Some of those same souls have actually been angels and cherub and seraphims and different things. So there is no hard and fast, like, if, Archangel Michael's soul has been in incarnations in other dimensions and things like that. Okay. So there's no one spot that people get pegged in as a being, because that would inhibit that soul's evolution and that growth. We all are given the opportunity to evolve and continue to evolve. And in order to do that, you have to have multiple incarnations and multiple situations. So truly, the greatest of ascendant masters are gods. It is no wonder in mythology of the ancients that their activities have been brought to us in disguise of myths and fables, right? Because they are of superhuman ability and knowing and energy, wisdom far beyond what their like linear earthly time would provide. And so, for lack of a better term, they are throughout time have been labeled gods. In reality, that knowledge is coming from off world, from off of Terra, extraterrestrial knowledge. And it comes in through multiple ascendant masters, source creator, Mother Sophia, our Arcturian family lineage, like that wisdom. We have a lot of really great light beings that actually add to our base knowledge and just existing. So they yield tremendous God power of all things because they have ascended. Okay, so as you ascend, ascension is a consciousness, first of all. So your consciousness ascends into different dimensions, right? Third dimension consciousness, fourth dimension consciousness, fifth dimension consciousness, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, on up. So as you ascend, as you rise in your consciousness, you have a better unity conscious composure about you. And so you have the things that cause you to think of things in a duality state where you have listening to your ego, you're still very judgmental, you live in the fear, shame, blame, guilt, pain, suffering mentality. Those are third dimensional thoughts, feelings, emotions, and consciousness. When you're out of that, when you no longer are fed the propaganda that your ego delivers to you in order to sway you to make choices that benefit the ego but does not benefit your soul. When you let that go, when you find that you're no longer harboring judgment against individuals, when you have the ability to forgive freely without stipulations. Sometimes I hear people say, well, I've forgiven, but I haven't forgotten. Well, you're just still keeping that negative hold, that negative power over that event. You have to fully embody the forgiveness, which is on all levels, all parties involved, in order to move forward. Otherwise, you're pegging yourself to always have a pin in that pain, and it's going to keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. So when we are able to become aware that it is not just us making decisions, I mean, that can be your choice, but we're offered is a team, a divine team that is always in your highest and best good. So whenever you're able to accept the fact that you have a team of guides that are prior family, along with ascendant masters who have unity knowledge, wisdom that is far beyond anything we can fathom. Because we're talking about multiple lifetimes. Along with the archangels, along with the angels, along with our dragons. Like there's so much assistance that we have in being the best possible evolved soul that we can be if we choose it. All of this hinges on free will choice. So when Yahshua said, all these things I have done, ye shall do, and even greater things shall ye do. He knew what he was speaking about. Saint Germain, who's an ascendant master, said this. He came from and forth to reveal the consciousness dominion and mastery that's possible for every human being to obtain and express while still living on earth. Again, free will choice. So fulfilling the divine plan. Within all of us, there's a divine power to express all that the ascendant masters share with us, if we choose to do so. All life contains the will, but only the self-conscious life is free to determine its own course. So when you're aware of your consciousness, you understand that you have free will choice, that you're not being just bullied around like a ball on the yard. You have choice of which direction you go in. A term I often use is course correction. So when you know better, you do better. For me, I made decisions that course corrected my path further in alignment to source creator and away from the quote unquote matrix, 3D matrix that we grew up in, that we know really to a degree better than we know the divine plan, because that is something we have to go in search of. It's not fed to us. Again, free will choice. So the individual soul has free will choice to express either in the human limited body or the superhuman divine body. They are the chooser of their own field of expression, and they are self-determining creators. So we say this a lot, like when you realize the power that you actually have to make the decisions to navigate your course, you're co-creating, you are manifesting and co-creating with source, with your team, with your God presence, with your ascendant masters, your path. And you're an active participant in your path. So life doesn't just have its way with you then, right? I don't make my hard and fast plans for my life anymore. I express things that I feel I should do. And then I have communion with my ascendant masters and my guides and source creator. And from that, I can determine and discern what's in my highest and best good and what was possibly not. And then I make a well-informed, divinely led decision on the path of the next step that I take. That's my choice. That's how I live life now. Doing it the other way, there was just bombs going off right and left. And I was just, I felt like I was doing a really good job of planning and that things were going to be great and wonderful. And they were never great and wonderful because I really wasn't consulting anyone but my ego. And so that is my experience. That is how I learned to, I say sometimes, let go of the white knuckle grip I had on life, because there's a plan that I made, the soul in me made for this life before I ever incarnated here. And the ego and the matrix doesn't really want me to follow that plan. So I was constantly being pulled away from the things that were in my highest and best good, because I was never even asking the true people, the true beings, the true guides, the question. I was just listening to this. So the choice to fully release attachment to the matter and choose to fully embody the absolute all encompassing life of wisdom of the ascendant masters allows for the friction that enables the soul evolution. And ultimately, the choice is it becomes intensified in the individual soul and focused on self-conscious intelligence. So what does that mean? Release the attachments to the matter. So in the culture that we live in, we are definitely imparted, and it's imposed upon us that we should and have to do certain things, be certain things, own certain things, wear certain things, say certain things, look a certain way, drive a certain car. You see what I'm saying? Those are attachments to the matter. And of course, matter has been given a different term, a different meaning of the term. Matter is the form, the stuff, the material. When that is temporary, what is the constant is the energy within us, the soul. That is the constant. Proof is the matter has an expiration date. That matter is what dies. The matter is what gives out and has to be replaced. And it's the soul, the spirit, the spark of life, that energy that continues on to the next incarnation or not. It's that is the constant. The energy is the constant because it can't be destroyed. It only be transformed and transmuted. So the Christ consciousness and ascension allows for soul evolution and growth to fulfill that divine destiny. We really do make grand plans for our incarnations before we ever arrive in this dimension. And some people get caught up in a lot of low vibrational habits that derail them from that divine plan. And so if you have addictions of any kind, if you are really, really lost without the labels and lost without the stuff and don't have any idea who or what you would be without the things, then you really have a long way to go to really fulfill that divine plan. You see, because you're at the really low end of low vibrational thinking, and that is just the lower self. You've not even reached the higher self. You don't even have the ability to have that communication yet because you're living in the ego and you're living in the matter. That actually doesn't matter. That's the oxymoron of the whole thing. So the friction is not fun. When you start to realize that the things that you have invested time, energy, and money in are temporary and really have nothing to do with who you are on a soul level, it can be very frustrating. It can make you feel like you wasted time, you wasted energy, you just wasted every bit of conviction and motivation that you ever had. Like, why do anything? But it's the friction you have to go through, right? You've heard other people say before, that's how you transmute the lead to the gold. You have to heat it up, and that heat comes from friction, right? So you go from this very comfortable, non-friction lifestyle where you have all the things and you've done all the things and you continue to do all the things, don't really have any boundaries. People just come and go and you're just cruising on this super fast highway of life, feeling completely empty and unfulfilled. But you're doing all the things. Well, why is that? Well, then you start to look within and you start to realize that the energy being that is within you, that is within the matter, is really happy, really fulfilled when you get off of that highway and you are in nature and you are allowing the sun to hit your face and you are listening to the birds and you don't have the earbuds in and you're not on your phone and you're just with nature, in the energy, in the peace, in Mother Gaia. And there's grounding there. And you realize what really feeds your soul has nothing to do with the matter, which is the attachment to things, people, places, stuff. It does not make you more fulfilled on a soul level. That usually happens, obviously, for different people in different situations, slowly. So you may get the inkling and it be just the thought terrifies you. You're like, I'm never going to utter that statement because if I ever say it, I'm never going to get out of my head. But in honesty, it's coming from within. And whether you say it or not, whether you verbalize it or not, it's the truth. And it's going to keep coming up. It's going to keep coming up. It's going to keep coming up because it's driving your soul to push your matter into course correcting back to source. Okay. So the ego is what tends to push us away from source and toward AI and toward things like, oh, you don't need to do all that work. You have so and so do that, or get this and have this and buy this, and it makes life easier. You don't need to do that, or you're better than that, or you don't need to listen to that. And that's your ego. Okay. So you listen to the ego and you get the stuff. you buy the things, and you have more people that have more dominion over your life. And then you feel like there's this chaos happening. And you actually created it all because you chose to buy the things and have the things and have the people. And they're all pulling pieces of your soul all over the place. And you're like, what the hell's happening here? And whenever you realize you played a part in it, that's when you have to forgive yourself. That's when you have to go, okay, I see now. I see I was listening to the wrong voice. I was giving my power away. And it's time for me to start course correcting and taking those little pieces of my power back. So whenever you start to push the ego, I like to say ego death. Does your ego really die? No, it does not. But you sure shut that up, put it in the corner, and put a lid on it. Okay? Because the ego really wants us to just feed it. It's just like the cookie monster, like just give me more, give me more, give me more. And at the end of the day, how many times have we seen this? It may have been you, it may be someone that you work with, it may be someone that in the public eye, we see that they have bought all the things, they have had all the toys, they have all the houses, they have this, they have that, they have all this matter, all this material stuff, and they are miserable. They don't know who they are. They don't know why they're here, but they have stuff. They got boats, they got cars, they always got money in their pocket to go do stuff. They don't know what to do because they don't have, their life doesn't really have a meaning. Well, it's because they've been listening to their ego and they've been listening to other people's ego. And it, at the end of the day, the ego is just a parasite. It makes you, it pushes you to compare who you are and your worth to other people, places, and things that do not matter. That does not define who you are unless you allow it. Free will choice. So most ascendant master souls incarnated in multiple important lifetimes. One of the biggest, in my opinion, misunderstandings is the goodness or lack of in incarnations. So I see this play out all the time. And I've done it. I've been guilty of it because I've, again, been evolving. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to say some names, and you're going to feel however you feel when you hear about these people. Akhenaten, Moses, King Solomon, Amun-Ra, Vishnu, Krishna, Poseidon, Kublai Khan. Now, you may have heard of some of them. You may have heard of all of them. You may revere some of them. You may despise some of them. You may be like, I'm not sure what that one did, but I don't think it was good, right? Or you may be like, I don't know what all he did, but I heard great things about him. So the soul that incarnated in every one of those names I just gave you, every one of those beings, the same soul, the very same soul. And that soul of Poseidon throughout time has been one of my best friends. And every time his soul incarnated, my soul incarnated. And there are plenty of lifetimes that he lived and I lived that were negative polarity. Okay. So we go through this journey and you start to realize that you're a whole lot more than the name on your birth certificate, right? The name on your driver's license. And for me, I started to realize my very first soul imprint, and the most important one, is the name you see at the corner of my screen, Lord Delphinus. Lord Delphinus was Poseidon's best friend in the time that Poseidon was on the earth. I had a major event happen, a crisis event, when I was younger, and Lord Delphinus walked in. Lord Delphinus' soul walked in to help the matter, the avatar, continue on. My original soul, still with me, but needed a reprieve, was having a really hard time with life and couldn't deal. So I got a walk-in. Walk-in was really familiar to me. Someone I had been in a previous life, Lord Delphinus. So my soul is very, very old. I have now determined I was a soul in Lemuria 1, and we know that to be 600 million years ago. So suffice it to say, I've had lots of incarnations. I've had incarnations as male, predominantly, and a few female. I have a twin flame, and he is incarnated with me as my other half in all of those lives. When I was male, he was female. When I'm female, he's male, so on and so forth. We have to experience all things as a soul to evolve, to learn the lesson. When you're going through training for a job, and let's say you go, okay, so like, what's the worst case scenario? And they're like, yeah, you know, I can tell you about it, but you won't really understand until you experience it. And you're like, okay, that's fair. It's the same thing with incarnations. Okay. We don't learn unless we experience it. Because again, that we have free will choice, and we have to be able to navigate on a soul level to course correct towards source and of the light or not. And some do choose not of the light choices. Now, a lot of the lives that I had, negative polarity lives that incurred karma that I had positive polarity lives to attune for, right? So like, for instance, when Poseidon was King Solomon, I was King Hiram of Tyre. You can look that up. That was what you can find anyway. You can take it or leave it, as far as I'm concerned. But overall, there were a lot of things that were done in service to self, not for the greater good, not in service to others, and not really positive polarity, I'd say. That was a negative polarity existence for myself and Poseidon. Anyway, that is just one example of how a soul goes through the evolutionary process to become an ascendant master. All the events that occur in a negative polarity life and all the events that occur in a positive polarity life culminate to an end result. So it kind of averages out. That's why you'll hear people say 51% positive is going to advance on to the positive polarity ascension. But like 90% negative. So you have to be a lot more negative polarity in your life for it to really count against you at the end. Everybody has free will choice, and that's why really having the knowledge that you have the choice matters. And that's why culturally, the people on earth have been largely taught that we don't have choices, that our choices are limited. right? And we basically are given choices that keep us from realizing what our power is, and that we actually have the power to choose to be further in alignment to source creator and who source really is, and then this unconditional love that is always there for guidance and has given us a team to help us succeed in our divine plan. Most people come here and live their entire life and they don't even know why they were even incarnated here. They just think that it's like the only life that they ever had, and that's it. Like they were here to work a 9 to 5 or I don't know, be a farmer, be an accountant, or whatever it is, and retire and take a couple of vacations, have a couple of kids, and that's it. And that's really not the bulk of why you're incarnated on this planet. So to ask these questions now, even though this whole concept might be like, it's really important, I think. It's important to know who your ascendant masters are, who chose you, what do they have to share with you? How will that play into the choices that you make with your free will choice to either course correct down your divine path or away from that divine path? You may be like, I am not on board with that any longer, if I ever was, and that's not what I want to do. Okay, free will choice. Actions have consequences, but yes, free will choice. So, a smaller example, whenever we're judged in this life, it's really unfair. Judgment and the lack of being able to forgive is really a hindrance in a soul's evolution. So the smaller example I give you is, if you're judging me today based on who I was 10 years ago, is very inaccurate, because my soul and my matter are completely different than what I was then. And I actively participate in evolving my soul every single day. And so it's really fair to say that I am not the person today that I was yesterday. And I work really, really hard to take in as much information, balance it out, discern what's in my highest and best good, and keep course correcting further in alignment to source. And I constantly check in. This is not a situation where I'm just like, yeah, I got that. I read about it. I'm good. That's not it. I don't ever consider myself all knowing or the end all be all. I'm always learning, and I'm always open to the wisdom that my ascendant masters want to share with me. I'm actively seeking those downloads because I know I need it. I know it's in my highest and best good. I keep opening the door. Yes, I've received a lot of information yesterday. Yes, it was all great and wonderful. Some of it knocked me on my butt, but I'm back today and I want more. That is what I do. And that is how I've gotten to where I am today. Was it easy? Hell no. It's not easy. There are days where it is quite the roller coaster ride, but it has all been worth it. The benefit, the reward, the sovereignty, and the calm that I have in my spirit and my soul, that I know I'm in alignment with Source Creator and I'm doing the steps along the path that I had set forth for me before I ever arrived on this planet, is very satisfying, much more so than anything I've ever done in my matrix life. So, common ascendant masters that influence us, the light beings, in this now moment, these are just a small sampling: Mother Mary, Magdalene, Yahshua, Sanat Kumara, Saint Germain, Hathor, Isis, Boudica, Mother Sophia, Saint Bridget, White Buffalo Calf Woman, Green Tara, Kuan Yin, El Moria, Kali Ma, Lady Nada, Hilarion, Zeus, Hercules, Odin, Ra, Krishna, Metatron, Melchizedek. Just a few. So the collective wisdom of these ascendant masters from all of their incarnations and all of the things that they've experienced, and they chose you because they know what you have set forth for you on your divine plan. And so their wisdom has so much more value than anything we have separate and apart from them, right? We're all evolving souls, or we should be. We're evolving as long as we allow ourselves to evolve, right? You're evolving as long as you don't shut the door on the wisdom that's being offered up to you. So if you feel like whatever it is that you know now at this point is all that you ever need to know, and anything else coming through is not for you, then you have shut that door on your soul's evolution. And all that will do, see, time only exists for us in this dimension, on this planet. The rest of the universe, divine or not, they are event-based. They have timelines, but it is event-driven and seasonal, okay? And so if you don't get the lessons in this life, you'll just be back. Get the lessons in the next life. You keep getting opportunities to make the most of what has been offered to you. And so it's up to you on if you're going to accept it or not. And if you don't, if you shut the door, you're going to get the opportunity again. And if the matter that you're walking around in wears out and dies, and your spark of life, that energy light, goes on and has their like sit down, and you're ready to, that being is ready to move to a different dimension. And then they get told, well, you're not able to do that yet. Your soul has not evolved past third dimension because you chose to do this, you chose to do that, and you didn't open the door to this. So you gotta have to go back. And then you get another choice. And the kicker is you're arrived with amnesia. So you got to start all over. You don't get credit for the work that you did before. So if you're really, really in judgment of people and places and things and society as on a whole, and you really find it hard to forgive others and whatnot, and you really feel like the only thing that you need to know is within the pages of a certain book, and you're not open to the wealth of information that is provided to you by Source Creator by way of your God presence, your ascendant masters, your guide, your angels and your archangels. You have a lot of work to do if you choose to, but it's not impossible. People are waking up to the realities of who they are on a soul level and why they're actually incarnated here at all phases of life. And a lot of people are in their 60s and 70s and they're realizing this. And they're so excited because they've spent 60 and 70 years feeling like they were here for a bigger purpose and they just didn't know how to find it. And now we can find it. We find it together all the time. So let's see if I covered everything. Yeah, pretty much did. If you have any questions, come into Healing Disclosures on Telegram. Post your question there. Right now, we're in a bit of a source imposed quiet time. There's so much energy coming in and solar and the different lightworker energies that's coming in from the different space races. And it was really a lot for us. We were pushed to take a pause, basically, for some self-care, and so that we weren't pulled and stretched so thin, but still join and we'll be back online, and admins are still posting. So there's activity there, but it just looks a little different. But we'll be back there to answer questions and get you guys in alignment and assist you in that discovering who your ascendant masters are and what they have to share with you. And then you can execute your power, your sovereignty, and your free will choice to further align to the divine plan that you made with Source Creator, Mother Sophia, before you ever incarnated on this planet. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and please put your questions under the video, and I will answer as many as I can for you. You guys have a great day.
When I want to be grown up, I want to play hockey. I want to be a DJ or a dancer when I grow up. Probably be video games designer because I like playing video games. A dad. Some grown-ups kind of get boring jobs because maybe they'll make like more money with it than they would with jobs that were funner. If you're doing the job that you do like, then you're not really working any day. You're not really working at all because like it's something that you actually like. It's not something like that you don't like.
I mean, of course, as a kid, I wanted to be in the majors. I wanted to play Major League Baseball or basketball. Of course,
I just remember I wanted to be a boss. It didn't matter what kind of boss. I just want to be a boss of someone.
Yeah, I mean, I dreamt about traveling the world. I mean, nobody wants to stay at home all day.
And one day I was just like, I can't do this.
I don't know how to travel with my kids. I don't see a way to go anywhere.
There are times in life I just all of a sudden realize I'm just here. I'm just existing, that I'm not progressing anymore.
I think as kids we have all these amazing dreams. Generally, as people get older, you get caught in that rut of, well, I can't do that, I don't have the money, or I don't have the time freedom. And network marketing actually has fulfilled all of those dreams for me.
I now can see that it's okay to dream and it's okay to have hope for the future. Because really before I just didn't think it was possible.
For me, network marketing has introduced me to a lot of friends that I never would have met otherwise.
What I'm doing now, I'm able to give people hope.
Everything is in your control. Your happiness is in your control. Your future's in your control. How much you make is in your control.
I've traveled to almost every continent around the world. Not only can you go to see a phenomenal area, but you have a purpose. You already have friends in that area.
You have to put the work out there. What you put out there comes back.
It is 100% the best thing that you could ever do. Have a home-based business, but you get to build your dreams. You get to go live your dreams.